Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Back at the Ranch, Expedition Online's after show. I am your host, Danny Knaub, and with me is another final three explorer, Justin. I am excited. How are you? Welcome.
I am doing great. A little less stressed out because the game is officially done voting people on and everything, and I don't think I slept a full night playing this game.
Well, I was going to say, it's been a few days since your final ascent, so you've already pitched yourself to the jury. For the first time ever, we're not revealing the winner, so I don't know what's going to happen, but how are you just feeling overall?
I mean, I'm much more like it's over. As soon as Docs told us we weren't finding out the winner, first I thought he was joking because he did a few of those jokes throughout the whole game. Like I think it was when we did the swap, he was like, "Oh, you don't realize we're not like current tribes?" And then he did it again. I think he did it to us when Ethan came, just talked to us for a minute. He's like, "Let's bring a new player back in." So I thought it was again one of his little oh, it's going to take a while to get these votes to me. So see you guys at the live finale. And then he was like, no, guys, we're done. Like, that's the end of now. We'll talk to you again at the meeting.
It was funny because it was so awkward. It was like we were just sitting there and he was like, we're not going to know the answer, but who wants to stay and drink and play games? And you all were like,
right. I was like, Docs, come on, just tell us who won so we can be done.
Like it was so I don't envy you guys because I would have been livid. I'd been like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no answer right now. So obviously you played an incredible game, Justin. Especially a game that most people didn't really think you were playing for the first portion. So yeah. I'm very excited to talk to you and just kind of get your feelings on everything. So let's go to the beginning. Obviously, we're all huge Survivor fans. We surprised you that Janet and Ethan are team leaders. What was that like? And being chosen by Janet, and you were first, right?
I was the first pick. So I said this like early in the game, like my job, I have to work with celebrities. And I don't know what it was, but and I love Ethan, but seeing Janet just made me like giddy. I don't know why. I loved her in her season, and then just seeing her, she's just so warm and welcoming, and I was thrilled to see her. And then when she picked me first I was like, oh great, everyone's gonna be like, okay, we got to get rid of the person who was picked first because obviously the captains are seeing something that the rest of us haven't seen, so they must be some kind of a threat in some way. And then I was like, crap, if Janet just screwed me, then I was like, you know what? Honestly, I'm willing to take Janet's first pick and put a target if it did on my back and then just go with it. It especially made me worried after Will was voted out because I'm pretty sure he was Ethan's first pick.
Yeah, he was.
So yeah, that made me, but again, I was just like, you know what? If it's to be on Team Janet as her first pick, if she has faith in me, I'm good with it. Put the target on me.
Well, and you guys had a really great start to the game because Team Janet won the first two challenges in a row. You didn't have to go to Crossroads. Just talk to me a little bit about those first few days. Were you bonding with anybody? Was it very much just a team?
It was weird to me, at least, because I haven't really done a game like this before, and especially one on Discord where you can jump room to room. So when we won the first two nights, everyone just stuck in the shelter the whole time. No one left. So I was just sitting here like, all right, I want to go out and strategize just to get some kind of bonds building, but I don't want to be the first one that goes and puts something. Everyone's like, oh, what's he doing? He's playing harder than everyone. So yeah, it was kind of awkward to me. I wish I had a reason to have to go to another room. And then when I got there, I could be like, hey, let's talk game. But I didn't want everyone to be like, he's talking game.
Yeah. Was there anybody though, just personality wise, that you felt I would like to work with?
Before we actually, the third night when we did have to split, just all of us in one room, Maddie probably stood out to me the most actually, which is ironic knowing how the game ended up playing out. She stood out to me the most of, I was like, all right, I wouldn't mind like making some kind of alliance with her. Jared, I said from, I think my first confessional, that if I had to pick someone that I thought was winning this game tonight, if someone said, put your money on one player who you think is going to win, not yourself, it would have been Jared. So I wanted to form some relationship with him, but I didn't want to like say to him, hey, me and you to the end, because I didn't want to be with him in the end.
For sure. So obviously you guys last a while. Your first team challenge that you lost, Dakota's the one that's voted out.
Yeah.
There was a whole texting scandal. Is that kind of what your vibe was? Just that it was an easy vote?
I actually brought this. So throughout this whole game, Dakota voted for Daniel on that first vote. And when we got back from the voting, everyone's like, why did you vote for Daniel? Like, it was out of the blue. Everyone was so confused about it. And I told Daniel and Rob this right before the night Gideon got voted out, because I was like, we're done voting. I can tell you guys whatever I want now. The reason was because I started to put together a counter vote to turn it on Daniel, because my mentality was, if we're in a group of 8, once we go vote someone out, we're at 7 and 4 people is the majority, and they can run our tribe from here to the end, and whoever they want goes. So I'm thinking there has to be some form of a group that bonded, and I know I'm not part of it. So if I'm not part of it, then there is something that I'm basically on the bottom already. So to me, it was, this is the only chance I have to get myself out of the bottom. So that's when I made the alliance with Jennifer. And I said to her, you're not in whatever big group this is. I'm not in whatever big group is going on. I didn't even know for a fact that there was one. It just made sense to me. So I talked to her and then I said, if we get Dakota, we can have 3 and we need 1 more to force a tie. And at that point, we might be able to flip this vote. And that is why Dakota voted Daniel. But we didn't have the opportunity to talk to enough people to see if we could make the vote flip. So at that point, we actually had a little code between me and Jennifer. I told her, we're going to split. You're going to go try and talk to people. I'm going to go talk to people. And when we get to Crossroads that night, if my hat is backwards like this, I couldn't get the votes. If I put it forwards, I got the votes. So that means you vote for Daniel. And she said, if my hair is forward, she goes, I'll put my hair forward if I got the votes. And I think it was the other way. I think it was, if I didn't get the votes, I'll put my hair forward. And if I got the votes, I'll put it back. So when we got there, she's doing this and I'm doing this. Make sure each other sees. I'm like, no, hat's on backwards, Jennifer.
Do you see the hat?
So, because it was very last minute when we started to put this. We probably had like 15 minutes left before we had to go to Crossroads. So I didn't know if we'd be able to reconnect, just the 2 of us, and be like, yep, we got it, we're going for it. So I was like, in case we don't talk again, this is our code. So we're not making this move and then finding out now we're definitely on. Everyone knows we tried to flip this.
I'm obsessed with that. Love that. Okay, so Dakota goes, your plan didn't work out. Now we go into a swap. So knowing this now, I feel like this was a pretty good swap for you, because I mean, you were obviously in the minority, so it wasn't good, but just knowing that it's Jennifer and Jared, it felt like those were the people that maybe you were feeling a little bit more closer with. So just talk to me. The swap happens. I know you were going to be going to Crossroads with everybody. What is your strategy?
So at this point, when we hit the swap, I'm hoping that I'm on majority Janet's, because to me, regardless if I was in this group in the beginning, Janet's will stick together. Like, no one had we tried to make the flip and it didn't work, then I could see if we were, say, if me, Jennifer, Daniel, and say Maddie got put on, right? And it was the 4 of us. Had we tried to make that flip and it just didn't work, where we actually put our votes on Daniel, then I think it would have been like, okay, you didn't vote with us, we don't trust you. Since it never actually happened that way and we didn't show our cards yet, going into the swap, I was hoping to get majority Janet, because I think we would have stuck together. I would have felt more safe.
Yeah.
So, and the worst was I watched that wheel go, and the way the tribes are getting divided, my tribe that I got put on, we have 3 Janets to start. So we just need 1 more to take the majority regardless, and the next 4 are all the Edens. So that was a little disheartening, but yes. So I get to this group, and my first thing is, I never wanted in this game to make anyone think I wasn't going to work with them. I wanted everyone to think at some point, if I need a vote, Justin is a vote I can potentially go to and maybe work with. So as soon as we got there, started talking to the Ethans, and I was like, look, I don't think I actually told them my plan to try and flip it on Daniel, to show them like I wasn't in this majority group on my original tribe. I am willing to eventually flip on them. Like, I don't think that I was tight with any of them except Jennifer.
Okay.
And after I won immunity on that first one, that's when I was like, all right, I can go all out and not have to worry. So I was
Well, and lo and behold, I think because you were highlighting that you were so close to Jennifer, that's sort of why the party. So it works out for you, but
yeah, I kind of hurt her game. I actually tried to. So after I won the first swap, we did the individual exemption. That's when I won the one. So I'm trying to figure out who I can use to work with. I'm thinking, okay, if me and Jennifer, the two of us, team up with two of the Ethans, we then have control of this 7, and we don't have to worry. So I'm pitching to. So as I was talking to people, I'm trying to figure out who they consider, of the 4 that came over, who they consider their tightest person. Chantel said Hannah. I mean, Hannah said Chantel. When I told Chantel that, she shocked. And Garrett said basically Gabe. So I'm now thinking, okay, these are the 2 groups that I can try and pit against each other. And I went to each of the 2 groups separately and basically told them, like, look, if we work together, we can take control of this group of 7, and no one else will really see it coming too much. So, and I gave them both the pitch of vote out one of your original Ethans. We'll be tied 3-3. That'll show me you're willing to work with me, because getting rid of one of my Janets, it's me putting all my faith in you without me getting anything. So you give me one of yours, we'll be tied. So you still technically have the numbers. And then next time I will vote out Jared with you. I don't think it was ever going to happen. I think the way the numbers been a little different, where like say Janet's had more numbers at that time, where the Ethans were forced to know eventually we have to work with Janet's, maybe then. But since it was dead even of 7 Janet's, 7 Ethans at the time, I don't think anyone wants to be the first one to cross that line and take out one of their own, especially since we're on the side of more Ethans and they're expecting the other side to lose one of their own. So it's kind of like, no, we're not going to take that.
Well, but it's interesting too, because that in itself is a strategy. I mean, especially when, because we know how the final ascent was, and it felt like a lot of the criticism towards Daniel and Rob was that you cut us out. You didn't even give us a chance. And I felt like a big bonus point to you was that you had people that said you came to us. Like, even if it didn't work out, it felt like you were wanting to try. So I think that that's a testament to this move too. Like, even though it didn't really work, or it may not have worked, I think the fact that you were already starting those relationships and those conversations allowed you to get further, or to have a little bit more maybe leeway, or another point you could bring up at the final ascent, essentially.
Yeah, like I said, to me, it was everyone in this game is on their own team. Like, right, we may have, Jan and Ethan may have separated us in the beginning, but to me, everyone was on, they're playing for themselves in the end. So tribe lines was never important to me. But going into the game, my mentality was be self-aware enough to know what other people's plan is. And the way it was shaping out with this game going, it was going to be, to me, very original party lines. Everyone wanted to stick with their own. Maybe you'll make a move once to save yourself, like with the Kyle vote. But other than that, it seemed like the path was going to be straight down the lines of Ethan versus Janet.
Yeah.
And so.
Totally. And what's interesting here is that, so this next vote, your team is safe. Gideon actually gets voted out into your new party. But we come into a pretty crazy crossroads. This is one where your team loses, you're going to crossroads. The other team will be joining you. They could vote and be vulnerable. They don't have to vote. So,
can I just make one really quick point?
Yeah,
just to throw, I also think one important part of that first swap vote where Jennifer went home, I think it actually helped my game a lot, especially that we lost the part where the other party was able to watch us. because at least then everyone, that was my one part that I went back to at Final Ascent, where I was like, look, I was always playing this game. And that was one point I could be like, look, you saw me do it here, and then it didn't work, so I had to lay low again. But it's not like I was the whole beginning, no one saw me do a thing, and then all of a sudden I started. So I think that actually really helped me, that regardless if it helped or not, I think it, like, I mean, regardless if it worked or not, I think it helped that people saw me try and make a move in the middle of the game to then be like, okay, yeah, I could at least pitch to them like, look, it wasn't just the end. It wasn't just, I'm going to do this now. It was throughout this game, I was doing something.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that you go into this final challenge before the rendezvous, which is our version of the merge, and you're very lucky.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like I'm listening to you, and I've already told you you're like super charming, so I'm buying everything you're saying. But clearly, this party was about to vote you out.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask Garrett, Gideon. I never got a chance to actually ask them. I wanted to ask them after the game to get a real answer. I wanted to know, had no advantages been played, if it was just a straight up, our group of, I guess we were what, 8 at that point? No, we were 7 again because Jennifer left. If our group of 7 was going to go, was it going to be me or Jared? Because they had told me it was going to be Jared, but because he played that leaving the crossroads, he was obviously safe. And he got that from Daniel, I believe. Daniel said he gave that to Jared. So yeah, it would make me feel better just knowing, had nothing crazy happened, it was just a straight crossroads, I would have been safe. If it was true what they told me, they could have been just BSing me and been like, oh no, we wanted to save you, but it was all these things that were happening.
Yeah, don't quote me on this. I would just ask him, but I do actually think that it was going to be going toward Jared.
That's what they. I do have to talk to them again and see, because I figure now, what's the point of lying to me?
Because that's why. Because I'm again, as a mod, I'm only seeing specific conversations. So it's not really the full picture, but But anyway, so to that point, you hear that Jared's leaving. So then, is your initial thought like,
well, crap? So we already had gotten the twist of the other party had the ability to vote with us. So throughout that whole discussion, I was going to all of them and I was like, I am not, like, they're going to vote me out. I don't want to work with them. I made my pitch to them. None of them took it. They all hate me now. I'm 100% Team Janet. You guys, like, if you don't, I'm not going to expect you to give up your immunity because you want it. But if you choose to, I am coming back to you guys. I'm not working with these people. So I was doing whatever I could to convince the Janets on the other side, like, look, I'm a number with you. And we're very close right now in numbers. Ryan was the person left on their party who was an original Ethan. So I was like, I don't know if you try and, I haven't spoken to him yet, but I am ready to come back with you. And if I go, then I'm pretty sure at that point it would have been even numbers again.
I think you're right.
Because since Gideon wasn't voted out, we may have been down 1 actually. Because I think we both lost 1 on the first crossroads when it was even. I think we would have been down 1. I think it would have been 6-5 in favor of Ethan's.
Yeah. So luckily, Kyle plays his compass for you.
That was the shock.
And he didn't tell you.
No, I had no idea he had a compass that was coming to me. I thought I had a chance to stay with the votes, that maybe they would put their votes on and save me that way, where that, like, I was talking to the Ethans on my party, and I kept saying to them, like, I'm not expected to be saved. I don't think they're ever going to give up their vote to save me. They weren't close enough to me, because I wanted them to all think we can't put our votes on the other party because they're probably not going to be vulnerable anyway. So then I could go back to the other party and say to them, like, they're not going to vote you. They don't want to take that chance. They're expecting you to hold your exemption and not be in danger anyway. So I was partly hoping that the votes, everyone would end up voting. I thought the whole group was going to vote, and I might be able to get saved that way. When Kyle chimes in and says he's ready to mix things up, and he's got a compass. First, I was confused because I thought he was playing it for himself. And I was like, what the hell is he worried about? And then when he said he's playing it for me, then I was elated.
Yeah, I mean, because you would have gone home. You had 4 votes.
Yeah.
So all 4 votes were negated. Hannah is the one that's going to go home. It turns out that Justin and Maddie and Ryan were the ones that voted for Hannah. So that allows OG Team Janet to have control of numbers. We go into a merge or into the rendezvous.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. I don't know if you saw me do that challenge, but I was terrible with the phrasing.
Yeah. But it's interesting because now hearing you, I feel like you and Ryan were similar in certain ways in that neither team knew where Ryan really stood. Like OG Team Janet was like, he's with us. OG Team Ethan's like, he's with us. And I felt like going into this rendezvous vote, the OG Team Ethan really felt that they had you as a number on their side and you didn't vote with them. So we end up voting out Gabe. So what was your decision? Why did you choose to go with your original?
So actually, talking about Ryan too, as soon as we got to that first vote, I went to Ryan and I said, look, we're kind of in the same part where we're the 2 that survived the other minority like group of your swap party. So I said to him, like, if we look out for each other, I don't think either of us could be blindsided. I never made an official alliance with him, like we're going to stick together through this game. But I did say to him, if they're going to try and target you, they're going to need my vote. So they're going to have to come to me. If they're going to try and target me, they're going to need your vote. So they're going to come to you. So the only way one of the 2 of us is really going to ever be in danger is if the other one knows it's happening. So if we just give each other the heads up, both of us will know when to look out and we can maybe flip the vote on it to save ourselves. But yeah, as far as who I wanted to work with, the original Ethans all were intending to vote me out. So I knew I was never in any of their long-term plans. They were ready to cut me right there.
Yep.
I don't think I was in any of the original Janet's long-term plans, but I do think they were looking at it as stick together longer and we'll make it for, and almost, I could see them wanting to go almost all the way party lines. Yeah. So my mentality is, all right, if I was trying to, once we hit the rendezvous, at that point, I can't plan for every twist, but I'm hoping that there's no like, you're merged and then you're unmerged. If this is the 11 that made the rendezvous, this is what's left in the game and this is who's all playing as a whole group. So at that point, I can start figuring out numbers of, okay, this is the breakdown that I would need to start making a move. And when I was thinking through it, I was like, all right, 8 is the number where if I can get 4 Janets, 3 Ethans, my vote is needed on both sides. And that's when I can make my move. So that's why I needed to take out, in those first 3 votes, I needed 2 Ethans and 1 Janet to go home.
Interesting. Okay, nice. So Gabe was voted out. We go into the superlative challenge, which is always meant to ruffle feathers. Clueless and edgy were the terms that you were voted first for.
I got edgy? What was the second one?
Edgy. Yeah.
You clueless, edgy, and what?
You got edgy, clueless, and daring.
Oh, I don't know. I guess daring maybe from that swapped crossroads. I was surprised. This is one of the examples of when my internet was terrible. And I actually lost internet for the whole strategy session.
Not a part of any of that. I forgot.
I didn't talk to anyone from the moment, I think from 10 minutes after I lost the first, like how that challenge played out was, it was teams originally. Once my team lost, I think 5 minutes later, as they were doing the individual part, my internet crapped out and I was frantically trying to figure out how to get back on. And I missed the entire strategy part. I didn't realize Garrett actually was back in the game until I got to Crossroads because he had missed the challenge.
I forgot about that. So, because I feel like you showed up almost right at Crossroads, right?
Right. I was talking to people and I was like, I'm getting back on. Worst case scenario, I'm going to go to my neighbors and just tell them I need to use the computer. What's that?
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I ended up dropping a hotspot from my cell phone because my cell phone, for whatever reason, wouldn't let me get on either. So I don't know if it thought I was still on my computer and it was locking me out. But so I ended up dropping a hotspot on my phone and being able to get on my internet through that.
Did you have any time to hear any plans, or did you just
No, I did not hear a single. The only thing I knew going into that crossroads was Garrett was getting 3 votes for missing the challenge.
So you just assumed Garrett should be voted out?
Well, my mentality was if they're trying to flip the vote on me with, what was it, 10 people left at that point, it's going to be basically 13 total votes because of the 3 that are automatically on Garrett. Of 13, what is it? So that's 7 makes the majority. Just throwing a vote on Garrett to me was just not having to worry. It was like, he's either going to go or everyone was voting for me and I'm gone anyway.
Yeah. Well, lo and behold, you weren't even at a risk. You know, I mean, though, I think the only thing that you really missed was that Maddie was really trying to start the Kyle vote, and she got basically most of the team, Ethan, on board. Rob was on board, and then when she pitched it to Daniel, Daniel sort of nicked the idea and said, "No, this isn't good." So Garrett ends up going home. But yeah, you were never even, I don't think, I talked about.
That's one thing I didn't think I did have to worry at that point because, like, my thing was once I got to the rendezvous, I knew I didn't have any real alliance. I had that little thing with Ryan to just watch out for each other, but no real. I didn't think I had anyone in the game who was like, if my name was thrown out, that say like Rob would be like, no, we can't vote Justin. If my name got thrown out, I think it would have always just been like, okay, maybe who else would we want? This person. Let's decide between them who we want more. So I didn't want anyone to ever think Justin needs to go now because I didn't have that safety net of someone else. So at that point, I don't think I was doing enough to make anyone question, like, with all these big names, I don't think I was doing anything where anyone would be like, we got to take Justin out at this point.
Well, and that's kind of why I brought up the superlatives again, because, you know, being voted clueless in everyday life, I think would be insulting. But in this game, you're kind of like, sure.
Oh, that was
I know what I'm doing.
Yes, that was okay. I at the final.
I'd be like, thank you.
At the finals, I did say like my goal was like I got clueless and I voted for myself for clueless because I wanted people to think this. That's not actually true. I didn't vote myself as clueless. I just put it out there, just like, see, I was playing the game. It was just a happy coincidence that I got clueless. But I did constantly throughout the game say things that was like I told people that, oh, I don't know what this fire room is. I thought we had to do something there, like make a fire, so that they would be like, what are you talking about? Obviously, you know, I knew that wasn't what it was, but I was trying to just make people think I didn't know what it was. Does that make sense?
So you're not a threat. Everyone's like, oh,
exactly.
Justin, who thinks we're making fire.
Yeah.
Right, we'll get rid of him later. Sure.
And I brought that up every time someone's like, do you want to go to the fire? I was like, oh, to make fire. Like, I wanted to make sure everyone always remembered Justin didn't even know that there was rooms we can strategize in.
Yeah, totally. Well, no, and I think it really worked for you. This next one played it up. You win the endurance challenge. Everyone's voting Kyle. This one, I mean, obviously, I think that went along with your plan.
Yeah, so I actually, after Garrett got voted out and I was able to then talk to people again, I think I talked to Rob and Jared individually, and I said to them each like, hey, I know Kyle's name is like coming up a bunch. I think we have to make this move very soon before, because once he gets to a certain point, we're not going to be able to make the move because the numbers won't be there. So I said, I think we should think about it I don't think I caused it to happen, but I do think me saying it made other people at least be like, yep, the numbers are there. We can make it happen.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think it was a decision. It's one of those hard ones where I was curious if anybody in the final ascent would try to own that move, because that was a tough one, because I think a lot of people just wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
So enough about that, because let's talk about the mega move. This is, I think, honestly, this is what I think defines your game. I think this is what set you up to get to the end. I think this is when people were like, oh shit, he's playing the game. Talk to me about Jared Blindside.
Okay, so like I said, from the rendezvous, from getting to 11, everyone's playing one individual game that has no parties. 8 was always my number of, if I can get to 8, where it's 3 Ethans and 4 Janets and me, Ethans need my vote. Otherwise, it's a very easy Janets are a number of 5. They don't need, like, they can pick off all the Ethans. So my mentality was they need my vote, but at the same time, I don't need to constantly flip back and forth because it's not 11 people left. So I knew from the rendezvous, 8 was where I was going to. If I make it to 8, that is where I'm making my move. So now I was just trying to figure out, all right, who do I need to target to make this happen? And the way I planned it all out, my mentality was, if I get to the finals, I definitely want to be sitting next to 2 Janets, because I think if any Ethans are there, they're probably going to beat me too. Like, so by flipping on the Janets, I'm thinking, okay, I'm probably going to lose some of those votes if I get to the end. So my whole game is going to depend on these Ethans wanting to vote for me. So when now I'm making the decision between Rob, Daniel, Maddie, and Jared, my first number 1 priority was, who is the closest to the Ethans that I don't want to be at the end with? Because if I'm already losing the Janet votes, I need the Ethans. And Jared, to me, was the person who was making the strongest relationships cross lines. And maybe it's because, like you said, we were on that minority position where all these Ethans did make it to the rendezvous. So we were the 2 who were able to talk to them more. So Jared is the person I'm thinking, okay, he can't be one of the Janets I sit at the end with, because he can potentially take those Ethan's votes that I need, because if I don't get them, I don't see how I win. So that is where my head is at that point.
I think this was the move that defined a lot of the whole last half of the game. I know as somebody, as a spectator, I was not in any of your rooms where you discussed this, so I was shocked. Like, I didn't see it coming. I was like, this was okay. I thought, I watched Maddie, Daniel, and Rob's reaction, and it looked like they didn't see that coming. So I think that they were sort of kicked to the ground and finally felt, oh my God, things aren't going our way. So I think that freaked them out and caused them to kind of lose a little of their brain power. I mean, you pull it off, and now it looks like if you were going to continue the OG Team Ethan route, that you were in the numbers. So going into this next vote, I'm curious, because obviously Daniel and Maddie have compasses. They're going to play them on themselves to save themselves. I spoke to Gideon. Gideon said, I don't know if he's telling me the truth, Gideon said that he really tried to push that all the votes go on Rob.
Yep.
Is that true?
Yes.
And so why did you not, because he felt like you were the big leader and not choosing to go for Rob because you won immunity, so that gave you all the power. I was like, I don't like immunity, but okay. So why?
So again, it all came down to who I wanted to sit with at the end. And from the point of, I think it was from the point of when I made the move, the 2 people I wanted to sit at the end were Rob and Daniel. I thought Maddie had a very strong connection to Chantel. Chantel was refusing to vote out Maddie. So to me, it was, one, if she's refusing to vote her out now, if she gets to the end, she'll probably vote for her to win. So that's an Ethan vote I lose right there. Whoever made it with me, had I gone, say, with Maddie and one of the other 2, Daniel or Rob, the other one either probably votes for Maddie. So that's 2 votes. Jared, I assumed would. So Rob was the person that I most wanted to be at the end with, though. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, if Rob goes here, I don't see a combination of 3 that I have a good chance to win. So when they kept pushing Rob at me, I kept trying anything I could to push it off him. I think Gideon and Ryan, like, I don't like that Chantel's refusing to vote Maddie. That's very suspicious to me. Like, what if we take out Rob tonight and then she's like basically we're giving all the power to Chantel where she can go work with Maddie, and now we're the ones who are looking for someone to save us. They were like, yeah, that makes sense, but they didn't want to blindside Chantel. So I was like, all right. And then eventually I just got to the point where it was like, I can't do this. I can't put the person that I thought I had the best chance to beat, which was Rob. I can't put the chance of him going home. So I was like, forget it. I'm putting my foot down. I'm not voting him out.
Damn, Justin. This is good. This is why I love hosting this, because I love just hearing, because again, when you're giving 3 minutes at the end for the final ascent, you can't say all this. You know, so it's like, it's nice to hear through everything. So Chantel is now the latest one to go home. You flushed 2 idols. So Maddie, Daniel play their idols. So going into this next one, it appears like it's 3 versus 3, which is what it is. I want to hear from you because I know I just spoke to Daniel. So Daniel spent a lot of this time saying that he had a compass, telling everybody he had a compass. So why did you all not believe him that he had a compass or he was going to play it? Because you voted.
So Gideon said that he was convinced Maddie had it.
Okay.
Both of Gideon was the person I was most like working with at this point, where I was going through the votes and saying, and I even said to Gideon at this vote, like, do we take the shot at Ryan with them because we can't go to the end with him? We have to vote him out. And he was like, yeah. And I think I said to him, like, I might have to vote him out tonight. And he was like, but if we do that, then the other 3 are getting the numbers. And I said, I understood that. And I talked to him. I was like, look, are you willing to cut Ryan soon? And he said, yes, I will cut him. Probably, I think he said maybe at 4, but so as long as I knew Gideon was willing to cut Ryan, I felt more safe. And then, what was the question?
Oh, I was just asking, oh God, I'm like, no, I'm forgetting. I think I was just talking about, it was like a 3-3 vote and why you didn't put votes on Daniel.
Oh, right.
Or why you did put votes on Daniel.
So my mentality at this point is I wouldn't mind Ryan. I know I can't beat Ryan at the end. Everyone loved him. So I didn't want him to go yet. But the thing I wanted more was the compass to be back in play. And if Daniel played it and saved himself, the compass is back in play, Ryan goes home. And then I'm thinking, okay, Gideon has found tons of advantages in this game. And I think if he won immunity, he would use it. Like he would give me the compass on the last time at 5. I truly believe he would have saved the 2 of us had he had the opportunity. If he didn't, then I think at least if he found it, if neither of us won immunity, I could have at least bargained him and tried to play it off like one of us is going to be safe. The 3 of you have to make. So I did want the compass flushed. And this whole entire what's that?
And it didn't happen that vote.
No, but this whole entire like leading up to that crossroads, I was telling both sides I'm with them. And I think it convinced them both that I was, because at the time I didn't know yet which way I was going to go. If I was going to force the rocks or if I was going to take out Ryan with Maddie's in that group. And all I kept thinking to myself is whatever decision I end up making, I think I'm going to regret it. I think I'm going to think in hindsight, I made the wrong choice. But the way it played out, and as soon as I made the choice, I was like, nope, I'm 100% happy with this. And it's because Daniel didn't play that compass. Once he didn't play it and it went to the votes, at that point, I knew I was going to rocks.
Yeah, that's one of those big crossroads where like a lot could have gone wrong, and it just worked out really, really well because having spoken out to Daniel and Maddie, they both were convinced that you were going to, I think that you had pitched them that you were going to tie, but then you were going to break that tie and vote out Ryan. So that's why I think he didn't play a compass. That's why.
So like you had said, why we put the votes on him. I was talking to Gideon. Gideon was convinced Maddie had the compass. And to me, it was more, I don't think Daniel would be saying he has it if he doesn't have it, just something. But it made more sense to me. Like, why are you telling us you have it unless, like, if you're going to say, if you know you're going to play it tonight, why not tell us? Let the votes get potentially put on you, and either you cancel them and you save your whole team, or you play it for yourself and you save yourself and you don't have to worry either way. If you're going to play it. So my mentality was, this seems more like, don't put the votes on me. I'm going to play it. It's not going to matter. And then he saves it for the next round where he's then guaranteed Final Four, which is what it seemed like he ended up doing. Yeah. So like I was still trying to save Rob at that point, because once again, they were at certain times saying, let's vote Rob. And I then said to Gideon, I don't want us to do Rob. Let's do Maddie. And then we were like, all right, let's tell them Maddie and do Daniel. So no matter what, either Daniel can go or we flush the idol and then we have to just deal with whatever comes next.
Yeah, and talking to Daniel, he said that if he played the compass, he was likely going to play it on Maddie. So then it still wouldn't have mattered because it would have been a waste of a compass. Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of like, you have the Jared flip, I think this was also another one of your biggest moves, because you were one of the people that went to
Yeah.
Rocks. So you had a 33% chance of going home. Lo and behold, Maddie is the one that's leaving. Huge threat.
That was
Threat.
I don't know if I ended up saying it. I had planned out what to say at my final was it what ascent?
And
And I had planned out what to say. And one of the things I was planning to end with was basically like I made big moves and like with big moves and something else and luck. Like I wanted to make sure everyone knew that I knew part of my game was luck came involved. And that was I like the way that tribal or that crossroads worked out with her going home was the best thing for my game. Like
Mhm.
that is the key. Like that situation was the best case scenario for my game.
Oh yeah, because those three, the DC three, would have
Yeah.
gone to the finals together.
Yeah. And that's why I decided to go to Rocks or the wheel because to me, once Daniel didn't play that compass, my only opportunity at that point, I knew the three of them were never going to vote each other out. So if Ryan had went home, the compass was now in Daniel's hands. If Gideon wins immunity the next at 5, I have 0 shot. There's nothing I could do at that point. I couldn't find a compass to save myself. Gideon's off the table, and the 3 weren't going to vote for each other, and they had full control at 5. So I was like, I can't either. I go home by a 33% chance, or I'm banking on Gideon not winning a challenge, which he's done multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge risk for you, but again, this set you up for the final 3 because then it was 5 left, and I think that you, Rob, and Daniel, even though you had flipped on them quite a bit and really, caused a lot of strife with them, nobody felt that it was smart to bring Ryan
Yeah.
or Gideon to the end. So obviously Ryan's voted out, then Gideon's voted out. We finally are left with our final 3. So I think just my question to you is, do you think you made the right decision with who you are sitting with at the end?
Oh, I definitely think the 2 I sat at the end with was my best chance to win the game. I think Daniel went in seeing everyone talk to Rob, I thought it before going in, and I feel bad because he's a great guy. But before we went in, I thought it was coming down to me versus Daniel. And all I kept saying was, I need 5 votes because obviously Rob is voting Daniel if it's 4-4 tie. So I need 5 to win this game. And I think Maddie's sticking with her DC crew. And Jared, I thought, had a good, even though he was less upset about it when I did talk to him. So I was happy about that at least. But I still
bigger jury, by the way. I feel like there was 0 hard feelings.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that I loved about it. Everyone, and I was reiterating that throughout the game too. Like, I'm just happy everyone here knows that it's a game. Partly because I knew eventually I was going to make this flip, and I needed everyone to go into this whole game thinking like, oh, we're not bitter, we're all a happy group.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
But yeah, no, the decision to go to the end with Rob and Daniel, 100%, I think was my best chance to win.
So now that the final ascent has happened, how do you think your performance went?
I actually did. I feel like though it's all right from my perspective. Obviously, I think I didn't do bad in my final performance. I was actually happy with it, and part of the reason I was happy with it, I can talk about what I did as my vote, right?
You said what?
I can talk about what I did with my tiebreaker vote, right? Okay, so when going in, I was gonna vote at the tie. If like we all had to make our tiebreaker vote, I was gonna put Daniel's name down. I didn't think it was gonna ever come up, Rob and Daniel tying, but I thought like, yes, Daniel played a better game than Rob. After when I had to make my vote, I actually switched and voted Rob because to me and Rob defended our games. We told why we thought we should win, why our moves were great. A lot of Daniel's I thought was why Justin shouldn't win. So to me, if you're attacking my game more than defending your own, you don't feel confident in your own game. You're more concerned with my game being better and trying to bring it down. So I don't think someone who doesn't even think their own game is worthy to win deserves my tiebreaker.
Interesting. And so do you think you won?
I truly do not know. Like I wish I could say yeah. It's so hard. Gideon told me I had like he went in. He told me us at Final Four he was going to vote for me, and I kept trying to downplay it to the other 2 before the final ascent and be like, What's that?
He was a big cheerleader for you.
Yeah.
He was very open about it.
Yeah, he did say before we voted him out, like, I'm not gonna, like, if I go home, Justin has my vote. And I kept saying to the other two, trying to make sure they don't flip and be like, oh, he's right. I was like, yeah, but he could just be saying that because he knows it's me or him. I do. And after what he said at the speeches, I know I got his vote. So I need 4 more to win. And I'm trying to figure out where the 4 could come from. I'm hoping Garrett and Gabe both voted for me. Because I think Garrett and Gabe.
And who? Oh, Garrett and Gabe.
Garrett. I think Garrett is a gamer. He had won one of the minis. So to me, it would make sense if he appreciated my big moves more than Daniel's social stick with an alliance, take it to the end. So I'm hoping him. Gabe, I actually bonded with a bunch after, ironically, I threw his name out at that swap crossroads when I said, I'm voting Gabe. Everyone should follow me. I hope that my answer to Kyle made him more inclined to vote me, because we actually never talked too much in the game, but I was trying to get him to consider voting for me. He asked me basically why I didn't save him after he saved me. And my answer to him was, I think we were looking at the game very similar, where it was a numbers thing. You weren't saving Justin, you were saving a number to help you further in the game. I could have been anyone. It wasn't specifically me. It was a number for you. And that's how you played the game. You played it by numbers. And that's how I played the game. When I knew at 8 is when my numbers could start working in my favor. So I was hoping that he would look at it and be like, okay, we did play similar. If I vote for Justin, it's like voting for someone who played like me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the answer. I don't know the results. Yeah. But I will say that I thought your response to Kyle was really good. And I actually, because I take notes because I know I'm going to be interviewing you all, and I did write down, I was like, that was a really good answer. Whether it's a good enough answer to flip them, I don't have any idea for that. But, obviously, as I said to Daniel, this is always a slightly awkward interview. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like I'm gonna have to talk to you all again when we know the answer. But just a few quick final questions. Do you have any regrets in the game?
No, absolutely zero regrets. I think Maddie asked that question. Was it Maddie who asked that? Or what our biggest mistake was? And I did say not saving Kyle. And it's not so much that I don't regret it at all, even now. I almost, at the time, it was more of a question like, could I have pulled off a different move had I saved him and had someone in my corner that I didn't have before? But I don't regret nothing in this game.
Yeah. And then would you play again?
Oh, absolutely. I 100%. This was the most fun. This is like, I love escape rooms. And for some reason, this like just the mental like figuring things out to me was like a giant escape room against other people to me.
Yeah. I'm telling. I mean, you get hooked on these things. Like I played a game in August, so the fact that I'm still here, like helping, because I love this kind of stuff. So before we say bye, any just final thoughts? Anything in general you want to say?
Oh God, just that I'm going to be stressing out until we find out if I won or not.
I know we'll find out. I don't even know when. We find out in a few weeks, I think. But
I thought it was a couple months.
Oh, you probably know better than I do.
Oh, I thought that's what he said. I don't know. I hope I don't know if Janet would watch this, but I hope as Janet's first pick, I did her proud.
I'm pretty sure I'm very, very happy. So, Justin, it was an absolute pleasure again to talk to you. I already told you before we hit record, like I loved watching you. I just thought you were a fun player to watch. I thought you just had such a fun aura about you, and you're always happy. And even when things weren't going your way, you had fun with it. I always appreciate people who play hard, have fun, don't take you too seriously. So, we will see in a few months or whenever. But again, thank you so much, and I hopefully get to see you play again in the future, and hopefully get to know you more outside.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna try and stick around at least with the Discord and stuff. So I'll be around whenever there's a game night. I hope I get at least told like, "Hey guys, we're playing a game."
Yeah, no, for sure. You'll be added to all these chats with a lot of us, and you'll be like, oh my god, this is too much. And it's fun though. But again, thank you so much, and everyone at home, thank you for watching all season long. I had fun talking to everybody, and I can't wait to see who wins. So, on that note, have a great day. See y'all in season 3.